When a woman distances herself and begins to ignore you, it's easy to assume she's being dramatic, moody, or playing games. But psychology tells us something very different. A woman doesn't distance herself without reason. She distances when her emotional space no longer feels safe. You see, women are emotionally intuitive. They sense disconnect long before it's spoken. When she starts withdrawing, it's not because she stopped caring. It's often because she cared too much and received too little in return. Her heart has reached a point of quiet exhaustion. Instead of arguing, she now chooses peace. Instead of explaining, she now chooses silence. Her distance is not punishment. It's protection. It's her way of saying, I can't keep giving my energy where it's not valued. This is how emotionally intelligent women protect their self-worth. Now, this is where most men make a mistake. They chase, they question, they try to force closeness again. But when a woman has entered her silence phase, words don't work anymore. Your actions, your energy, your presence, that's what speaks to her now. When she ignores you, don't panic, don't chase, don't react emotionally. Instead, pause. Reflect on what changed. When did she start pulling back? Was it after you became emotionally unavailable? Did she stop feeling heard, seen, or appreciated? Because distance is always a symptom, never the disease. This is your moment to respond with calm strength. Give her the space she's asking for, but stay grounded. And don't disappear completely. Stay consistent in small, meaningful ways. A short message that says, I understand you need space. I'm here when you're ready communicates emotional maturity. Remember, the feminine energy feels safest around masculine calmness, not masculine chaos. She doesn't need promises. She needs presence. She doesn't want control. She wants clarity. So when she distances herself, let your silence be grounded, not reactive. Let your energy be patient, not needy. When she sees that you're not shaken by her distance, that you respect her boundaries, and that you're willing to understand instead of argue, that's when trust begins to rebuild itself. Because in the end, women don't leave because they stopped loving you. They leave because they stopped recognizing themselves in the relationship. If you can create emotional safety again, she will return. Not because you asked her to, but because she feels peace in your presence again. When a woman distances herself emotionally, it rarely happens suddenly or without reason. It's not an impulsive act. And it's not always about anger or drama. It's the final stage of a long internal process where she's been emotionally withdrawing, little by little, while still trying to make things work. Emotional withdrawal is a deeply psychological response that often begins when she feels her emotions are no longer being met with understanding, empathy, or value. Women don't shut down overnight. They fade slowly. You might notice her becoming quieter, less reactive, less expressive, or simply not the same as before. That's not coldness, that's emotional fatigue. In female psychology, emotional disconnection is usually the outcome of feeling unseen or unheard for too long. When her emotional needs go unnoticed, when her expressions are dismissed, or when her vulnerability meets indifference, her heart starts protecting itself. At first, she may try to communicate, argue, explain, or fix things, but once she realizes that her efforts are met with silence, excuses, or avoidance, her mind slowly begins to shut down the part of her that still expects emotional nourishment. This is when emotional withdrawal begins. Quietly, invisibly, but powerfully. Most men notice the distance only after she's already halfway gone. They interpret her silence as mood swings or manipulation, but psychology reveals it's actually a form of emotional self-preservation. For a woman, love isn't just about words or physical presence. It's about emotional safety. When that safety disappears, her subconscious begins to pull her away from the source of emotional discomfort. She's not trying to punish anyone. She's trying to protect her peace. Her emotional system automatically activates this defense mechanism to prevent further pain. Think of it as a nervous system reaction. Just like the body flinches when something burns the skin, her emotions flinch when she feels emotionally neglected. She withdraws not to hurt, but to heal. Her silence becomes her armor. Her distance becomes her shield. She might still be there physically. She might smile, talk, or do daily things. But internally, she's somewhere else, rebuilding her balance, trying to find her center again. This kind of withdrawal is deeply emotional, and it's often irreversible if not recognized early. Many women have a high tolerance for emotional discomfort. They stay, they try, they forgive, they explain, they hope. But once the inner switch flips, once she realizes her emotional world is being drained rather than fulfilled, that's when she begins to emotionally detach. At that point, words mean very little. What she needs isn't persuasion, but transformation, a genuine shift in emotional awareness. Her distancing doesn't mean she stopped loving. In fact, it often means she loved too deeply for too long without feeling emotionally reciprocated. Love for her became exhausting instead of nourishing. And when love starts draining instead of healing, a woman's heart begins to protect itself. She withdraws into silence because she no longer feels safe expressing her emotions. Every time she tried to express her pain, it probably turned into conflict, criticism, or dismissal, so now she chooses to say nothing at all. Her silence is not empty. It's full of unspoken emotions she's tired of explaining. Understanding this stage requires emotional intelligence. A man who truly understands a woman knows that her withdrawal is not rejection, it's communication in its most silent form. When she stops fighting, she's not giving up on you, she's giving up on being misunderstood. That's the moment most relationships reach a turning point. Some men interpret her withdrawal as loss of interest and walk away, while others recognize it as a cry for emotional safety and step up with maturity, presence, and understanding. If you pay attention, you'll notice subtle signs before she distances herself completely. Her texts become shorter, her tone softer but colder. She stops sharing little details of her day. She stops seeking your opinion. These are signs that her emotional connection is weakening. She's no longer investing her emotions in the relationship because she no longer feels emotionally rewarded. Women invest where they feel seen, not where they feel ignored. Emotional withdrawal is never random. It's the result of hundreds of small disappointments that she never wanted to turn into a fight. It's her quiet way of saying, "I tried." By the time she pulls away, she's already replayed the situation in her mind countless times, hoping for a different outcome. But when nothing changes, her heart starts accepting reality, not angrily, but peacefully. So, when a woman distances herself, it's not a mystery to decode, it's a truth to understand. Her withdrawal is a psychological response rooted in self-preservation, not cruelty. It's her emotional system saying, "I deserve peace." And once she reaches that stage, she doesn't need apologies or promises. She needs emotional safety, consistency, understanding, and calm energy. That's the only language her heart understands once words have failed. In the end, her distance is not about ending love. It's about ending emotional chaos. It's her way of reclaiming her strength, her silence, and her self-worth. When you understand that emotional withdrawal is not random, you begin to see it not as rejection, but as communication. And in that understanding lies the first step toward rebuilding connection, not through words, but through presence, empathy, and emotional maturity. When a woman begins to distance herself emotionally, it's rarely a sudden or random act. It's the result of a slow emotional process that started long before she pulled away. Emotional withdrawal is her way of protecting her inner peace after feeling repeatedly unseen or unheard. Women don't disconnect overnight. They fade quietly. She stops explaining, stops arguing, and stops trying to fix things because she's realized her efforts bring no change. Her silence is not coldness, it's exhaustion. In psychology, this is called emotional self-preservation. When her emotional needs are ignored or her feelings dismissed, her subconscious begins to pull back to prevent further pain. She might still love deeply, but she no longer feels safe expressing it. That's why her behavior changes: fewer messages, less enthusiasm, softer words that carry distance. She isn't trying to punish anyone, she's simply choosing peace over emotional chaos. Every time she felt misunderstood, she built another wall around her heart until she finally decided that silence was safer than speaking. Her withdrawal is her way of saying, "I can't keep giving where I'm not valued." For most men, her distance feels sudden, but it's actually a sign she's been trying to communicate for a long time, just not in a way that was heard. Recognizing this shift early is crucial because once a woman reaches emotional detachment, it's difficult to bring her back with words alone. What she needs is emotional awareness, consistency, and calm presence. So when she distances herself, don't see it as rejection, see it as communication. It's her final attempt to protect her self-worth, to choose her